So now, what is the definition of ORAC? The definition of ORAC is the oxygen radical absorbance capacity of a food to subdue the oxygen free radical damage. And so basically every food that we eat, every raw fruit and vegetable has an ORAC value or an antioxidant amount that it contains. The USDA knew that getting ORAC every day was so important that they came out with a minimum recommended daily allowance of ORAC that we need to get. That minimum amount is 3,000 per day. The optimum, I think, could be more like 10 to 15,000 ORAC a day, especially if you're under more stress, you're doing more airline travel, maybe you're exercising extensively, things like that. We need more antioxidants. This chart is what completely impressed me and made me quite excited when I was introduced to this chocolate. This is an ORAC value chart that was done by Brunswick Labs in conjunction with the USDA. And as you can see, there are fruits on the left and vegetables on the right. And we have these ORAC values. There's 100 grams per serving. So it's about 3.5 ounces. Notice a couple of things on here. Number one, spinach has an ORAC value of 1,260 for 3.5 ounces. Well, compare that with raw unprocessed cocoa at 26,000. When I saw that, I thought, I like spinach, but boy, do I love chocolate. So another one that I want you to notice too is blueberries has 2,400 ORAC per 3.5 ounces. Compare that with acai, the berry I mentioned at the beginning, 18,500 ORAC, an amazing amount of ORAC. We have the raw unprocessed cocoa and acai in our chocolate. So according to this chart, you will notice that dark chocolate does have 13,000 ORAC. That's not bad. So what's the difference between dark chocolate and unprocessed cocoa? The comparison that I like to do is if you were to take a raw vegetable, a raw zucchini for example, and you were to eat that raw zucchini, you would get all the nutrition from that zucchini. It's kind of like your unprocessed cocoa. All the antioxidants are intact, none of the bad. If you were to take that same zucchini, roll it in egg batter and breadcrumbs and deep fat fry it for 20 or 30 minutes, that's a little bit more like your dark chocolate. You still have that same vegetable, you still have the cocoa, but then you've got the added stuff, you've got the added fats. You've also destroyed some of the antioxidants in the cooking process. And so why not just go for the raw unprocessed cocoa? Get all the antioxidants intact. And so think about for a moment what you had for raw fruits and vegetables, maybe today or yesterday, and just add up in your mind what you've eaten. What I have found is that most people get maybe 500, maybe 1,000 ORAC if they're lucky on a daily basis. If you think about the way that we typically eat, fast food, we're always in a hurry, we're not getting the ORAC that we need, the antioxidants that we need. So according to WebMD.com, it says that not all chocolate is created equal, says Dr. Angler of the University of California, San Francisco. Dark chocolate contains a lot more cocoa than other forms of chocolate, and standard chocolate manufacturing destroys up to half of the flavonoids, which is another name for antioxidant. Sure, this seems like a scam. Can't you get more and better flavonoids from other foods? Surprisingly, the answer is not really. Angler says that dark chocolate contains more flavonoids than any other food, including green tea, black tea, red wine, and blueberries. Many people don't realize that chocolate is plant-derived, as are the fruits and vegetables recommended for a healthy heart. This article appeared in the June issue of the Journal of the American College of Nutrition. 3 of the X power squares. We'll do a little comparison. The amount of ORAC and antioxidants you will get from 3 X power squares, you would have to consume 3 cups of blueberries, which would cost probably about $8. That amazes me. I love chocolate. You would have to get, you would have to eat for the 3 X power squares, you would have to consume 9.7 cups of red grapes to get the same antioxidant value as 3 of the X power squares. Or you'd have to consume 28.5 cups of raw spinach to get the same value. That might be a little bit hard to do in one day. Or you would have to consume 40.5 cups of raw carrots to get the same value that you get from consuming 3 of the X power squares. 3 of the X power squares gives you an ORAC value of 10,740, and it's very, very easy to eat. There's so much that we hear about dark chocolate. It's difficult to open up a newspaper or a magazine and not see something about dark chocolate. Here are some of the things that are said on dark chocolate. U.S. News: new evidence suggests that a moderate amount of dark chocolate, particularly cocoa, may be sweet for the cardiovascular system. BBC News: chocolate can protect against tooth decay. Isn't that interesting? That seems really contrary to what you would think. Well, there are particular compounds in the cocoa that actually do help with tooth decay and gum health. I can tell you my personal experience. My gums and teeth are a lot healthier. My kids also, I have 4 daughters, and we took them to the dentist and they all had a clean bill of health, no cavities, which is pretty great, and the dentist commented on how their gums looked healthy. And so there are many, many studies on tooth decay, which is very exciting and amazing. The next one, Psychology Today. So think of chocolate as a brain food. USA Today: eating dark chocolate appears to improve the function of important cells lining the wall of blood vessels for at least 3 hours. That's why we say eat this chocolate throughout the day. In fact, the Omega bar, the orange bar, is scored into 3 pieces. If you can restrain yourself, eat a third in the morning, a third mid-afternoon, and a third evening, and you'll be protecting your body when you eat foods maybe that are high in saturated fats. So here's a report. This is from Brunswick Labs. And according to Brunswick Laboratories, this is the independent laboratory that evaluates ORAC values. Some other berry juices and things that are available, these are what their ORAC values are per ounce. Wolfberry has an ORAC value of 1,310 per ounce. Mangosteen has an ORAC value of 550 per ounce. Noni has an ORAC value of 500 per ounce. And goji is 400 per ounce. Compare that, well, in fact, if you took all 4 of those ounces and you drank all 4 ounces, you would get an ORAC value of 2,760. Compare that with just 1 ounce of the Shosai active drink, 4,275, and it's chocolate. Seeing is believing. Brunswick Labs is an independent laboratory that evaluates ORAC values. It's important when you're looking at a product to look for that seal, and that ensures that the quality is truly what you're getting in the ORAC value. And so we're happy to say that we have that ORAC measurement, the Brunswick seal, on all of our chocolate. So if you were to try to get your ORAC from other typical dark chocolate, you would have to consume, in your typical 10% dark chocolate nuggets, you would have to consume an entire bag, which would give you 2,100 calories, 117 grams of saturated fat, and a whopping 189 grams of high glycemic refined sugar. Yikes. I don't think that'd be good to do on a regular basis. Shosai, on the other hand, 3 nuggets surely does and truly does, with the Brunswick seal, give you 9,360 ORAC. 1 Shosai nugget will give you 70 calories with only 3 grams of a low glycemic raw cane juice crystal. 15 grams of fat for 3 nuggets, which is a heart-healthy fat. As you can see, comparing the ingredients, big difference. In typical dark chocolate, you've got alkalizing and dutching, which destroys a lot of the antioxidants. Shosai, on the other hand, is raw, unprocessed, non-alkalized cocoa. Big difference without the bad. So this is something that is safe for type 2 diabetics, with it being a low glycemic chocolate. So a couple of things that make this truly unique and separate from other dark chocolate. I've had people say, well, why can't I just eat regular dark chocolate and get my ORAC? There's a big difference between what Shosai has and typical dark chocolate. Number one, Shosai is a cold process. The chocolate isn't heated above 127 degrees, which means it maintains its ORAC, it maintains its antioxidants. There's also no caffeine in this product. That truly is unique. And you know, I wondered that too, because I ate the chocolate and I slept so good at night, and I thought, you know, if I was eating caffeine right before I was going to bed, I would not be sleeping very good. So no